I think so often when we get dealt hands that are not super desirable, it's very easy to really just focus on the negative things. But I realized this diagnosis has actually made me the person that I genuinely have always wanted to be. I just wanted to jump on and share some kind of like a positive message because it is very easy to get down and dark about this specific disease and or just any other struggle that we're dealing with. And I just wanted to share things that I've learned and things that have been helpful for me, and realizing that all of this stuff is a part of a much bigger plan, and everything that we deal with is teaching us something. So with anything and everything that we go through, whether it's some kind of health thing or whether it's a not so desirable experience, there's always something that we can pull from it and that can help us grow. And I just feel like after what I've gone through and finding out about this diagnosis, I just feel like I've grown so much as a person, and I'm just looking at life in a totally different light. And had I not experienced finding out that I had a disease that was incurable and could potentially take my vision from me, I wouldn't have learned some of these like gems, these life gems. And I think that, you know, there's always like cliche things people tell us, like live every day like it's your last, or we never know what people are going through, or whatever. And I just realized that like some of those things people always tell us, like I firsthand have gotten the opportunity to genuinely understand what those things mean. And I just feel like I've changed so much as a person, and I'm so grateful and have so much gratitude for the way that everything has been laid out in my life. Like had I not been diagnosed with a disease that affects your vision and takes vision from some people, I wouldn't have realized like the importance of being present and living every day like it's gonna be the best day ever. Just because like with this disease, it's like nobody knows like what it is gonna look like, and it looks different for every person. So having the idea around that I potentially like may not be able to see at some point in my life, or may have a very hard time seeing, it just helped me realize like I need to be doing anything and everything right this second, like right now, today, tomorrow. I need to be living every single day like it may be the last day that I'll be able to see. And I think that that's such a beautiful thing. I think that realizing that we have no control over really anything in this world, and therefore we need to live every single day like it's exactly what you wanted to do that day, like not waste any moment, because we never really know like when our life is going to change. Is tomorrow going to be your last day, or is, you know, today going to be the last day I'm going to be able to see? Like we genuinely don't know. And like that's something that we always like, people always talk about like live every day like it's your last. But I feel like with this disease, it's really helped me realize like the importance of being present and making myself happy today, and doing things I've always wanted to experience today, because we don't ever know. Another thing I've learned is just like having compassion for others. Like I've always been a very empathetic, compassionate person. Like I'm such a true empath. I'm always worried about other people and like how other people are feeling. But I just like this whole diagnosis has taken like it a step further for me, and realizing that some people have things that like they never talk about, or some people have experienced things that they've never talked about, or you may run into a stranger at the grocery store and like they may be dealing with something or just got really bad news of something, and like we genuinely never know. And I've really learned a lot. Like even just from my mom, like she has really bad hearing. She's had bad hearing like her whole life. And just watching her and like interacting with her, and like she has a different type of like struggle than what I do, like with my vision, and just realizing that like being patient with her and being empathetic with her, because like there's so many things that people don't understand about what I go through with my vision. I could never understand what she goes through with her hearing, or how that makes like her like daily life a little bit harder. And it just made me realize like the importance of being compassionate just for other people, and like just even just total strangers. Like I think that like obviously I've always been, you know, a compassionate person, but this is just really like taking it a step further, because having a disease that's like not super common, most people know like know nothing about it. They're not educated about it. They don't understand what the symptoms are, what the struggles are with it. And that like this has just really been an opportunity for me to learn and to grow and realize like there are some things that people are struggling with or that they've experienced that I could never understand. And just being more compassionate with others is just like, it's just opened my eyes. Like this disease has just like really opened my eyes to that. The third thing that I feel like I really am like working on, but I've also just like had the opportunity to experience or to learn, is just like having more grace for myself. I like oftentimes I'm someone who is like very hard on myself, and that could be like in any area of life, but realizing that, you know, I do have certain struggles, and like that's okay. And just being patient and giving myself grace, and realizing like, hey, if it takes me 30 minutes to find my keys because my keys are right in front of me, but I didn't see them, like it's okay. Like I have certain struggles, like, and those struggles are like things that have made me stronger. And just giving myself more grace and realizing that this is all a part of what I'm experiencing. Like this disease is like all a part of it. And that can be played into any direction. Like even, you know, dealing with certain like traumas or experiences that people have had, like just giving yourself grace and realizing that there's all a process to all of this. Like there's a mourning process, there's a grieving process, there's a process of like finding yourself. Like all of us are just in this human experience, and all of our struggles are very different. And just being more like graceful in the fact of like being patient with yourself. And I just feel like some of these things, like, yes, I already knew them. Yes, they're just like life lessons that we learn along the way. But I just feel like with my recent like realization about like my eyes getting significantly worse, like I've genuinely been able to have the opportunity to take a step back and realize like, what is all of this teaching me? And I realized that like the things that I've learned like so much more in depth than just like the average, like, oh, you read a meme online, or you read a good book and it really touched you. Like, no, like these are things that I'm practicing now in my life as far as being more present, being more compassionate, and giving myself more grace. And these are things that I feel like I've had the opportunity to learn through having this eye condition. And I am just so grateful. I'm just so grateful.